Hope you're well. It's been a while since I've done a video, so apologies for that. The intention was to get them out regularly, but circumstances at home and being busy at work, I've not physically had the time to do any uploads. So yeah, I've had quite a few matches since the last video. Lots of tales of woe, some success. I think the best I've come was 5th in Fishomania qualifier at Lindo with over £200. Great day's fishing, but unfortunately not enough on the day. The two sort of matches I'm going to focus on today are just I've had 3 matches at Partridge in the last month, and just want to go through them really. The first one was the final Fishomania qualifier, and I've drawn peg 6 on Lake 1, and to be honest with you, not happy. It was very hot, quite still. There was a bit of a wind, and I had the wind off the back, and yeah, so bright still conditions in my peg. I just knew there was going to be no head of F1s there in which to do any damage in the match really. So yeah, a bit disappointed, but the thing with these matches is you still got to give yourself a chance. So the thing that I did have in the peg was lots of really big carp cruising through, and with it being still and the sun being in the right position, it gives you a chance of a mugging day. So I've took the decision to basically set up a few mugging rigs, and it's important to note that if you're going to be doing that kind of match, you basically you need to go against the norm of what you'd normally do. So Partridge, as many of you know, it's very shallow dominated through the summer, so the first thing you do in any match is to start loose feeding maggots, casters down the middle. If I'd done that on the day, I just feel that any carp cruising through the peg, A, you're not going to catch him over where you're feeding, and B, make him a lot more spooky. You know, drop lower in the water, and you give yourselves a lot less opportunity to catch any fish. So obviously you've got to give yourself a chance of catching feeding fish. So on the day I started short down the edge. It's the least destructive place in a peg that you can put any bait, if that makes sense. So I've started short with 1 small pot of micro pellets, and I've had 1 carp actually over the first initial feed. Big carp, about 6-7 pound, and I've gone back in again, and yeah, I just knew they weren't going to be coming to bait on the day. Basically, I had no more indications and no more fish coming over that spot. So I've gone straight in mugging after about 15-20 minutes, and the first hour was phenomenal really. Caught some great big fish, and you know, after 60 minutes I had about 60 pound, and after 2 hours I had over 100. Not much over 100, but it was definitely over 100 pound, which has set the sort of benchmark for me to potentially go on to win the match. Thing at Partridge is you never seem to get a full match of dobbing or mugging fish. It's always a couple of hours really. So the middle part of the match was very slow, and less fish were sort of like presenting themselves to be caught in that fashion. So the last sort of 2 hours of the match, I've given myself a chance of winning and started feeding. I tried shallow, didn't have a bite, and I tried the edges to catch some of the carp, and I've caught 1 or 2 more in the last part of the match. So a bit of a disappointing end, but the fact is I've comfortably won the lake. I've had like a phenomenal stamp of fish for Partridge really. I've had 21 carp and 1 F1 for 133 pound, which is by far the biggest stamp of fish I've ever caught at Partridge really. And I've given myself a chance that if they'd fed late on, I only needed 40 minutes of catching to sort of get the weight needed to win the match. But I think 70 pound was second on the lake on the day, so from a peg I didn't fancy with the wind off the back, I was really pleased with that. And it just goes to show to give yourself a chance in these matches. You don't always have to follow the norm really. So yeah, the next match was Bank Holiday Monday last week. I'd actually been on the Sunday as well, drawn peg 23 on Lake 2 again, the wind blowing out, didn't fancy it, but anytime you draw next to a bridge, they do hold some fish, and the lake fished hard on the day, so I've fished quite a negative match really. Fished pellets for stockies and F1s sort of across from me, and then I've had a few big carp on maggots in the edge late on for £110, and yeah, fortunately I've won the lake again. And then on Bank Holiday Monday I've drawn peg 165. Again, I didn't fancy it. The wind was blowing down the far end towards 151, 149, and I knew I'd be up against it to beat those pegs. So again, I've just fished a nice steady match. I've not set any shallow rigs up because again, normally if you're off the back of the wind, you're not going to have the header of F1s in front of you that other pegs have, basically. So by fishing shallow, you're potentially splitting up fish that you could be catching on other methods more effectively, because you need a large volume of fish in your peg in order to catch shallow weights. So I've set up 3 rigs across for fishing pellets up and down the shelf, a short maggot rig to the left, tight against steep shelf in 2 foot, and I've set up a 3 foot rig as well on a top kit to my right. It's been a nice steady match. Had a few early on hard pellets across, good stamp of fish. Middle part of the match was really hard, and then I've caught across again later on, and then in the edges. Now the thing that surprised me was the 3 foot line on the top kit was actually a lot stronger than the line in 2 foot further away from me, and this time of year I wasn't really expecting that. And to be honest with you, I don't think I give it enough time to catch what it was worth, so I stopped feeding it, thinking that my 2 foot line would come stronger, and then, you know, with an hour to go I started feeding it again, and straight away it was stronger. So made a bit of a mistake there, but you know, I honestly thought I'd split the fish up and catch better by concentrating on the slightly shallower water to my left. But yeah, lesson learned there really. I think the rain during the week, we'd had some storms and a lot of rain. It pushed the fish down deeper than what you'd expect for this time of year. But yeah, it's been a nice steady match. I've caught a mixture of big F1s and carp, and yeah, I've ended up winning the lake again. The pegs in the wind, I think they've tried to catch shallow and potentially not caught what the peg was worth, wasting that time trying to catch shallow. On the day, our lake, you know, it wasn't big weights and they didn't really have a go. So again, I've got away with it. I've fished the right match for the conditions of the day. Thoroughly enjoyed the match and ended up with £110, and that ended up 3rd overall. A long way off the win. Christian Jones had £200, but I suppose the point of this video is just to make sure that you know, when you're fishing matches, is to not just go down a set route. To you know, you got to analyse your peg on the day and give yourself a best chance of having success really. And yeah, that's the art of match fishing really. So we're off to Larford today. There's a high chance that I won't be doing any fishing if I don't draw myself a peg, which I think is going to give myself a chance of a match win. I'm going to have a walk around. It's the last Golden Reel qualifier today, but on Wednesday Phil has put on 2 separate matches, if you like, both 20 peggers, one on the Specie, one on the match lake, and the winner of each goes through to the final. So I think my time's best served today having a walk around potentially and having a look at how the lakes fish. I think I could learn more being mobile on the bank than what I can potentially fishing. So yeah, that's the plan for today. If I don't draw a peg, I'm just going to do a bit of learning. So probably won't be an upload today. But yeah, fingers crossed I draw a flyer, and I will. You what, sorry?
Oh, just went straight through me landing net.
No way.
Must have got an all in it. It's just obviously ripped it. Straight through my landing net into my kink there.
Oh, nice.